Was good with it? It's the homie MACK, reporting live from the Dogon, music, art, culture, knowledge. You know, we're back with another session of MACK Minutes. I want to say R.I.P to Jared Higgins, known to the world as Juice World. He died this past Sunday of an apparent overdose, and he had a seizure, which led to his untimely demise. I think the tragedy in all this is just the fact this is definitely a crisis. You know, they said the number one cause of accidental death is drug overdose, and specifically the use of opioids in correlation to that. And I think the thing that's tragic is if you listen to a lot of the hip hop that's coming out now, the drug culture is what is it? Mos Def had this line where he said hip hop went from selling crack to smoking it, or selling dope to smoking it, something like that. I think that he said that on Black on Both Sides. But yeah, essentially, I know in the '90s, like the drug culture was more about being the dealer, but now it's like I feel like being the fiend is like on the forefront. Like it's cool to be a drug addict, and I'm not I'm not trying to preach to anybody. I'm not saying that Juice WRLD deserved to die. I would never say that. I just think essentially we have to everybody always says I'm just a reporter. I'm as a hip hop artist, I'm a reporter. I'm just reporting what I see. But it's like at some point we have to look at what we see, self-reflect, and do better, And I think a lot of the music, what do they say? If you ever want to see where a generation is headed or what their ethos is, pay attention to the music that they're making. And I think a lot of the music that's coming out now, specifically in context of hip hop, it's filled with a lot of anxiety. It's filled with a lot of depression. It's filled with a lot of sense of hopelessness. And it's filled with drug addiction, a lot of drug addiction. And I think that addiction plays a role in depression. And I think sometimes, but the irony is people become addicts to escape depression, but a lot of times it only compounds it. The drugs only compound the depression and long term make it worse. But yeah, let's get back. Juice WRLD, Jared Higgins. I think he was really. I can't sit here and say I listened to a lot of his music. The first song I ever heard from him was "Realer and Realer" with Future. I thought that song was dope. I thought the cinematography in that video was amazing. I think the thing that was dope about him as an artist was I think he was for the most part decent lyrically. I think I wouldn't put him on par with like a Kendrick Lamar or a J. Cole, but I would say for the lane that he was in as an artist, he had some lyrics. He had some bars, and I think he was hella melodic. He had a nice voice, and I think he has a legacy that will stand the test of time. Now I've been hearing different things that I've heard was essentially that his I guess the pilot on a jet that he was on had contacted someone, I think law enforcement, and said that there were drugs on the plane on the jet, and that there were guns on the jet as well. And I think Juice WRLD caught wind of that and tried to swallow the evidence, consume it, ingest it in his body. And I think essentially that led to his seizure, and that led to his untimely demise. I think I remember hearing somewhere recently, I think earlier today, I heard that Future released a statement like apologizing, because I think apologizing to Juice WRLD, apologizing to this generation essentially, because I guess he found out that Juice WRLD developed an affinity for lean through Future's music. And if you look at the No Jumper interview, he even said it himself. Like when he heard Dirty Sprite and he was hearing a lot of the music coming out of the South, that it made him curious about drug usage, and essentially played a role in it. And I know people say, well, that's not Future's fault. No, Future didn't put the cup to his lip, blah, blah, blah. But let's keep it 100. I mean, the hip hop culture is very influential. It's very galvanizing. It's very enticing, and it has a large impact on the subconscious mind, how we think. And I don't care how smart you are. There's something that influences you. I just think that as people, we have to kind of be more self-reflective and aware of the sum total of our thoughts and where our thoughts are taking us. And I want to say, Future apologized, and I'm curious to see where Future goes with his music from this point forward. I'm curious to see that. But I think what's really tragic, another thing that's really tragic about all this, not what's really tragic, but another thing that's tragic about all this is that some people are actually doing a seizure challenge. They're online doing a Juice World Caesar challenge, acting like they're having a seizure and passing out. And my thing is, as a society, how did we get? I want to say through social media. I think it made us more. I think reality. We become more insensitive to reality, to death, to life, to death. I think we don't have that the same amount of empathy as a society as we used to. I think we've been overly exposed to things, and we become desensitized to it. And I think at the end of the day, we have to remember this was a man that had a family. He was a human being. He was a person, and to make light of his death for a challenge, like that's lame as hell. That's hella lame. But again, I'm hoping that I don't know how many more people have to die there, but I think it was I can't remember the other. But I can't remember the other rappers but there have been other rappers recently that have died as a consequence of opioids. And my thing is, there's nothing cool about this. Like if you see I know Lil Boosie was on Vlad TV, and essentially he was saying like, look, man, this stuff it messes with your bowel movements, where you'll defecate pebbles because your bowels are so backed up and your kidneys are messed up, so your body isn't even being filtered naturally. And then he said like it makes you lose like a lot of your cognition skills or your basic bodily functions, not being able to control coughing, sneezing, like you're just kind of a zombie. You're like a shell of yourself, and this stuff, it causes a strain on your body. And then let's look at it, the science of it. Like essentially, lean is liquid heroin. It's an opioid, and essentially the impact that it has on your body, it impacts your limbic system, your brain stem, the receptors in your brain, and it gives you this sense of euphoria. It gives you the sense of euphoria, just a sense of well-being, pleasure, like you feel good, But again, the lasting physiological effects on your body are negative, and it causes people to be these like they're constantly chasing pleasure. Chasing that feeling, that euphoria that they get. But again, the long-term effects of that are negative. It destroys your body. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, the opioid, that's white people problems," but no, it's present in black culture and hip hop culture specifically because a lot of rappers are rapping about lean addiction. And it's unfortunate that becoming a fiend is cool. Like, there's nothing cool about being a fiend, being dependent on a substance outside of your body. There's nothing cool about that. There's nothing desirable. There's nothing appealing about that long term. And I'm hoping that this generation of hip hop and moving forward, that we learn from this. That we learn from this and we realize, look, we need to shift this narrative. I'm not saying that everything needs to become, preachy music. We can talk about the realities of it. But again, like, I just really hope that people understand, like, this is a crisis that we're in the midst of, and that we need to shift this narrative. But anyway, I could go on and on about this. Thank you for listening to this session of Mac Minutes. Peace and love. Subscribe to the YouTube channel 82 Kings. Follow the movement on Instagram, MacTV_82. I challenge you to tell a friend about the podcast and what we're doing over here with the 82 Kings movement. Mac TV podcast First episode coming shortly. Peace and love. Be blessed.